have an unboxing here for Thunderstone Advance, the card game. This is the Worlds Collide product. I'm not sure if this is just an expansion or if you can play this by itself, but you originally had the Thunderstone game just by itself, and they came back and made some changes to it and made it Thunderstone Advance. But they had 6 sets that they released for the original Thunderstone, and I started out with Thunderstone Advance, so I never got any of those cards, but they were still compatible. They just didn't quite match art wise, and I really didn't know which ones to get anyway. But they've come back, and I don't know if this has all the cards, but I think it has a selection of some of the best cards, and previously hard to get promos from the first 6 sets. So if you don't already have those, or if just aesthetically you want them to match the newer style of Thunderstone, this is a good set to get to add to your cards. So I'm going to open it up and take a look at it. This is by AEG. So I got 550 new cards in here, or like I said, not new, but they were from the previous edition of Thunderstone. So you get the book here, and I'm going to flip through it to kind of see if this is just an expansion or it can be played by itself. Let's see. I don't know. It looks like maybe this can be played by itself. It's giving you the instructions here for unpacking the box and how to set up the first game. And the first game setup looks like it may be part of it's not telling you to put any cards from the other set in here. So it just goes through and tells you how to set the thing up, how to play, what some of the concepts are. Let's see. Still going through game. Kind of tells you what's actually changed from the Thunderstone version of the cards to the Thunderstone Advance cards. You get a card glossary that it goes through. Gives you some variants for how to set it up. You're going to get a board in here. It's a 4-panel board. I'll pull back and take a look at it. You can see you got spots for villagers, spells, items, weapons, and then the heroes. And then at the top you have the dungeon hall with the dungeon deck and disease deck, and you have darkness penalties there. And the other side of the board is the one where your dungeon hall is 4 spaces in wilderness, and I believe the light penalties can be a little less on some of those. But the other part of the setup's pretty much the same. Break the board. And then you're going to get a bunch of packs of cards here. We have so you can get some Thunderstone tokens here also. Just little plastic pieces. You get a healthy sized little baggie of those. So you can get all these cards. I'm going to open them up and separate them out and come back in a minute. But you can see they kind of have areas to put in here and foam to separate them. But they also come with separator cards that kind of stick up above the other cards. I'm going to sort them out and come back in just a minute and go through them. So I have all the cards separated out now into their different categories somewhat. You can see at the top you have 11 advanced heroes that you can buy. There are 6 weapons that you can buy as you play the game, 4 items, 4 spells, and then 5 allies you can buy. You have the 4 basic cards that build your decks to start, and you can see those cards are going to be 6 regulars, 2 long spears, 2 torches, and 2 thunderstorm shards. And you'll start out with that deck and slowly use them to buy these other things to purchase. You have a bunch of disease cards here. It's a very large stack. You have all your monster cards up there, and I'll flip through those individually. You have your divider cards to separate out all these different things in the box when you put them back in the box. You have your randomizer cards that you use to help you pick which cards to make up your game with. Then you have monster randomizers too. For most of the cards, I'm just going to show you these randomizers here, but the monsters come in groups with different kinds of randomizers, so I'll show those individually. But you'll get an idea of the artwork that comes on all the rest of them. The artwork for these, you know, you have 3 different levels. Like you have an initiate here, a spell sword, and then it goes all the way up to an avatar. The artwork on those is essentially the same. If there's a difference, I don't notice it right away. So I'm going to flip through the randomizers to show you what cards you get. So you get a blue fire, which is a human cleric wizard. You get a dwarf fighter, with just the name clan. You get a dark, which is a human wizard. A divine, which is a human cleric. A golem, which is a human ranger. A Heruli, which is a human fighter wizard. Isri, a human fighter ranger. Lorig, a human thief. Stoneguard, dwarf fighter. Tholus, human thief wizard. And Woodfolk, a human fighter cleric. And they all have their different, the 3 levels of each of those. So here's some of the other things. This is some of the items you get. You have a ambrosia, which is an item, a food item, a blessed hammer, which is a weapon, a border guard, a village mercenary, chalice mace is a weapon, chieftain drum is a magic item, creeping death is a spell, dredging net is an item, drill sergeant is a village mercenary, feast is a food item, flaming sword is a weapon, guardian blade's another weapon. You have a guide, which is a village mercenary, a Jondal bow, which is a weapon, ritual of cleansing, which is a spell, soulfire, another spell, spear, it's a weapon, time bend is a spell, town guard is a villager, and trader is a villager mercenary. So that gives you an idea of all the cards that aren't just the basic cards or the monsters. So we'll take a quick look at the basic cards. You have a regular. You have the long spear. You have a torch. and you have a Thunderstone. And they give you the divider cards, they give you 5 of those, so I'm guessing there's going to be enough to make up 5 basic decks there. You have the dividers that divide the cards in your box, and that's pretty much just the artwork repeated for each different kind of thing. You know, it's got the big guy in the armor for most of these things. And then some of the weapons, it has the individual art and the villagers, different items or food, randomizers. You see it's got the level 1 heroes, wood folk. And then it's got the different separators for the monsters, but they come in groups. So you see you have that big stack there, but you only have a handful of randomizers. So you got the Doom Knight humanoid, which is a monster group, the Chromatic Dragons, Oozes, Doom Undead, Spirit Undead, Giants, Dragons, Humanoid, Abyssal Thunderspawn, Undead Spectral, Spider Animal, and Guardian. So those are your groupings of monsters. But I'll flip through these real quick so you can see kind of the groups. So it looks like you're going to have an ooze group here. So you got a black slime, gray ooze, green blob, nauseous slag, red jelly. So those are your oozes. And we have the Doom Undead. We have Famine, Harbinger, Kingdom, Lord of Death, Suffering. We have some Abyssal Thunderspawn next. Have Usurper, the Bloodless, Razorback, Regicide, Tendril Minion. Have the Spirit Undead, a Ghost, a Haunt, a Revenant, a Spectre, a Wraith. We have the Doom Knight humanoids. So Darkness, Judgment, Nightmare, Lord Mortis, the Prince. And then we get into the Chromatic Dragons. Got the other stack here. We have an Ebon Flame, Mythulurian, Skeledak. I can hold them in my hand. Tyrx the Old, Uriel Unending. Go into the Giants. Have a Fire Giant, a Mountain Giant, Stone Giant. Keep going to flip sideways. Frost Giant, Titan. I'm going to get into the Dragon's humanoid type. So we have a Skyworm Mage, Skyworm Priest, Skyworm Scavenger, Skyworm Warrior, Skyworm Overlord. And we have the spiders here. Fire Fang, Green Spider, Widowmaker, Dread, Spider Queen, and Spectral Undead's the last classification grouping here. We have Will-o'-the-Wisp, Cruel Apparition, White, Devourer, Soul Eater. Looks like we have some Guardians here too. I think these are major monsters maybe. We have a Void Apocalypse, Thunderstone Bearer, a Dark Champion Doom Knight, a Guardian of Virulence, and the last Doom Knight is a Thunderstone Bearer. So that's a look at everything that comes in Thunderstone Advance Worlds Collide. That can be an expansion for your other Thunderstone Advance stuff, or it looks like you can play it standalone by itself also. And that is by AEG.